Da 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 da, yeah, so da 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 da, alright, check it out. Look, I used to dribble my spotting board on the time of slave. Used to pack up some wonder water and marmalade. I used to look at the autumn leaves to the far away. Used to get too used to the usual to make it all okay. Trying to journey to infinity and beyond, but be honest, on my team is a dreaming bond for Legion for eons. See on the promise from other games.
Can you guys tell me a little bit like about yourselves and how you got started in music?
I'm Devin, or MNBeats, from Bloomington, Minnesota. It's like 5 minutes south of Minneapolis. I was like 10 minutes away from this kid. It's pretty nice. But yeah, I went to go visit an old neighbor, and I hadn't seen him in a while, and he was going to college for like engineering, I guess. And we sat in his basement, we had made this rap song. It was so bad, really inappropriate. And I was in 8th grade, I didn't even know what I was saying. And,
that's how you gotta start though.
Yeah. And then, then I went through our freshman year of high school. I didn't really do anything musically at all. And then sophomore year, I found the program and I just kind of stuck with it. Made some garbage beats that I thought were really cool at the time. You can find those on YouTube. And then it's been almost 6 years now.
You got some old ass ones that are huge though.
Yeah,
that West Coast one's got like 600,000.
I'm so tired of hearing that. I don't ever want to hear that again.
Yeah. I started when I was about 14. I wrote these little joke raps about like parents in our neighborhood. Like how slutty the moms were in our neighborhood and stuff, and like send them as a group, like mass text at all the neighborhood kids that played night games and stuff. And then it just like, by the time I was 15 or 16 and kind of, you know, started to transition out of sports and transition away from doing anything of use, I decided that I should probably, you know, fill my time with something. And my mom's a writer. She's published a lot of books and she's written for various magazines and online places, and so as a kid she always had me writing stories. And then, you know, I just got into poetry a little bit more and it adapted, you know. Like most people when they ask or describe me, I'd rather have them characterize me as a writer than a rapper.
Why are you making this album?
I felt like a lot of the last stuff that I was doing was a lot more oriented towards like the party scene and sort of some of the more materialistic shit, and this album's just a lot more genuine in regard to me being a pussy.
Yeah.
So it's introspective?
It's introspective, that's what I meant by me being a pussy.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. So Apple Valley is the place where I went to high school. It was a big part of my growing up. You know, everybody always says you're not part of the Valley because I lived in Eagan, but it was right next door to Apple Valley. I spent all my time in Apple Valley, all my friends were in Apple Valley. It's where, you know, my whole history as far as high school and everything that's happened in my adolescent years and shit kind of starts. And then also when I moved up to Fargo-Moorhead for school, that is known as the Valley. So the simple definition for why it's called valleys would be the two valleys, you know, and sort of the road in between as I travel to school. But also sort of the meaning behind hills and valleys, peaks and crests, and shit that happens in life. You know, this is some of the stuff that was molded from, you know, my down times in life and Valley of Ashes and shit. I don't know, as most people know, this is tentatively planned to be my final album, and so I felt like, I don't know, I feel like I kind of owe one more, and it's been a pretty big year for me last year, and I just have a lot of, you know, unsaid things and concepts that I want to just toss out before it's all over.
I'm making this as a follow-up to my last album, or beat tape. My last one, I was looking at kind of these outside things that I couldn't control, you know, different facets of life. And now I'm looking more introspective. That's why I named it Brody Sai'id Heaven the Fourth, which is a kind of scrambled my name around, took all the letters and made my own new name. So
Dude,
this is my own persona.
Is that like an idiom?
I don't remember. It's like Harry Potter #2, where Tom Marvolo Riddle, he goes up and he writes with his wand. He writes his whole name out. He goes. Whoosh.
Some of you guys' influences.
I've kind of gone back to my roots a lot. When I first started getting into hip hop, which wasn't really until about 10th grade or so, I listened to a lot of Blue, underground guy. I don't know, I've gotten a lot of inspiration from people outside of rap. I don't listen to that much rap anymore. So a lot of Bon Iver, a lot of, you know, Frank Ocean, just sort of a lot more of the conceptual writers who use like their I don't know the word. What?
Synesthesia.
Yeah. Sort of seasonal sensing, all that shit.
My influences for this, I listen to a bunch of different types of hip hop, like the old school stuff, the Chief Keefs, the Gucci, the Nas, pretty much everybody. I think
you're the only person who's ever said their inspiration for their tape was Chief Keef.
And Nas.
No, and Nas in the
same sense.
Nas in the same sense. They all had their place for me, but that and kind of just self-reflecting. You know, I sit in this dark room by myself, turn the lights off, and I just have time to think. I sit,
after a brief fat,
and I sit like this, and I think about stuff. I don't know. Yeah, it's not all music to give you an influence, I suppose. So.
All right, so that's kind of your process. What about you, Jack?
Just find a beat, and then, you know, find a beat to reflect sort of the mood that you're in, the song that you're looking for, and then just, you know, write whatever comes. You know, but with recording and with engineering and shit, it's really tedious for me. Like, it's not something I enjoy doing. It's not something like making beats where you can kind of be by yourself and be in the zone.
Do you ever flip it? Do you ever think that the beat sets the mood first before you have something to write?
No.
Or does the beat bring something out of you ever that you weren't thinking before?
Not really. I mean, I write songs when I find a cool beat, but it's usually shit that I scrap because it's not very heartfelt, you know, the things that I actually come out from. I think maybe that goes back to that previous question. That's sort of why I've diverged from the last tape. The last tape was a lot of beats that I thought were cool, that people would like, and, you know, I wrote lyrics that didn't mean that much to me.
You guys try and tell a story from beginning to end on your albums, with like each song kind of being a part and like its own little story?
Yeah.
Yeah? Is it hard to make them, to like get a cohesive...
Dude, you gotta find like a transitional piece. Like, with the last album that I did, in between every song I had the noise of like a tape clicking, and so it'd be like you're listening to a cassette in a car and it goes on to the next song, and the story was supposed to be of like me on a typical night in the summer, like driving around with the bros, cruising and just playing tape, next song, you know. So you just have to find like a little bit of a transition, because you walk the line where you don't want things to get monotonous, you don't want to be redundant with your beat choice, you don't want to be redundant with you know, your conceptual matter, but you need to have something that ties it all together. So it's a delicate balance, but you can find it sometimes.
Yes and no. Like, yes, things do mean stuff, but how do you really tell a full story with instrumentals? You know, it doesn't mean anything to anyone else. But for me, I can, you know, it's like nostalgia for me. I can go back and I can hear that beat that I had made, and I think of what I was thinking of at the time. So for me, it's like, you know, I've got like a rap written down in my head or something. Pretty much how it is.
Dude, nostalgic feelings are like the core component to all music.
Yeah.
Or everything that I've done with music.
Well, for us, it's seasonal.
Definitely.
We hear music and we think summer or winter or fall.
Yeah.
We jump back to that time.
Not even shit that we make, but shit we listen to as well.
Definitely.
You know, like you don't, I don't know.
Blue, summertime.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen to a lot of Blue.
Yeah. You don't listen to Bon Iver in the summer.
No.
It's depressing.
That is
Yeah, winter is depressing time. Winter sucks.
So when you're not rapping or making beats, what do you guys do?
Go to work, man. Jobs, income, ends meet for my family.
Typical college.
We do
shit.
college things on the weekends.
Yeah, you know, my mom might watch this, so we won't delve deep into that, but...
You look like Michael J. Fox, dude.